All right. So iPad's up. And let's go through, and this we're going to do a bit of interaction because this is, these are the worksheets. Want to make sure that, we interact with you guys as well and get your examples. So let's do that. Oh, that's really big. Where's my iPad gone? Sorry, guys. Share iPad. Share screen. Can you see my iPad? I can't. I probably need to. Here we go. Cool. So last week we filled in, who we helped. So our people. And can you just jump off mute and Seal, you've already shared who you helped. Guys, can we just get some shares on who you landed on with who you're going to help? Hit it.
Okay, so my niche is businesses who have got dysfunctional teams, which is impacting their bottom line and just general harmonious running of the business.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, we looked at that one last week for you, so you settled on that one. Dysfunctional teams, business owners with dysfunctional teams. Cool. Seal, yours was business owners with families?
Yep, business owner with a family.
Biz owner with family. And Cheryl, where'd you end up?
I went with professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I kept it really broad from our conversation last week.
Mm-hmm.
So professional, small business owners, with the hope of also targeting families within that.
Okay. And let's jump ahead. Did you think about what you're going to help them with? So your what, even though we're going to build it out. Did you get that far?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I don't know how to articulate mine.
That's okay, because we're going to do it in here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know how to get that across.
Yeah, that's cool. That's I just thought you might have after last week come up with that, but no, that's totally fine because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at what we do, okay?
Yeah.
And what we say, all right, and a little bit of thinking about how we're going to do it, okay? Cool. All right. So, bear with me. So the 5P plan. All right. So focus is important. Look, again, like with everything in this pilot, in this course. Oh, we've got some chats. Get that back up. The military version of the 7 Ps: proper planning and proper planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance. I can't even. There was so many. There was too good. All right. Yeah, it's along those lines. So look, in a nutshell, we looked at who we help. Tonight we're refining what we do with them. Cool. And the 5P plan is essentially how we focus. So this is going to create focus. Now, all right, just on the one thing, okay? So it's 5 because there's one of each. There's 1 times of each. Now, here's the thing. Just to give you a bit of background, the reason why I love this and I sort of tweaked this and came up with it, especially for people who are starting out in their business and really wanting to land and then expand their business, is because for me, when I started, I had about 3 focuses, and every example that I'm giving you on this pilot was from my experience and what didn't work. Okay, so one half of the week I'm doing sales, the other half of the week I'm doing spiritual stuff, and then the other on the weekends maybe I'm doing who knows, right? So I had just different focuses, and I say who knows because it got that confusing about what I'm actually doing that I sort of just lost track. And so for me at that point, that's where the confusion set in, and then the little worry guy came up, where I was like, oh no, is this ever going to get smoothed out? And so coming up with learning this concept comes from Taki Moore, where he's got something called the 5 1s, but it's a little bit more, it's a little different. So I've called it the 5P plan, which is really just designing and bringing in some focus into what we're doing when we're wanting to get a really clear message and, hit our market, land our market, and then expand on that. So the first one thing that we're going to have, okay, not 3, 1, is we're going to have one person we help, okay? So that is in Cyril's case, our family, our business owner with a family. In Cheryl's case, a professional. In Steve's case, a business owner, okay? So we're going to have one type of person, right? One type of person. And then we're going to have, the next one is we're going to have that one, we're going to help that one type of person with one type of problem, to which we have one promise. Cool. So we've got one type of person that's got one type of problem, and we've got one type of promise for solving that problem. Yeah. Having different focuses and different parts of the market that we work in, right, is equivalent to me of having like 3 part-time jobs. That's what it's like. It's like you got to switch your focus. You got to put on your different cape, right? That's what it's like. So when we can commit to having one focus, we just can put on that one cape, help that one city, and be Batman to one type of people in one area, okay? For now, to begin with. It's not always going to be this way. This is the easiest way to scale your business, okay? The next one is we've got one process we use. So that's model, program, yeah, system. So we're going to pick that, yeah? We want to have one to begin with that we focus on. Doesn't mean that we have one. So like right now, yes, I'm building an online program. Doesn't mean that I don't do one-on-one as well, but there's one that you put the most focus into, okay, and work on scaling that hardcore. So one process that we use, and we do that within one time frame. Usually, right, we want to give ourselves 1 year. So for example, this program will launch and I will solely focus on it for 12 months. Yeah. I won't then go and build another program just because I've successfully done one, right? It will be, there's a process that I'm using, and the process is the SoulTrader implementation program, which I will scale for 1 year. Okay. And here's the thing. Here's the thing with the 1 year. Is because it will become, everything we do will become finer with time. It's like wine, okay? And every time I show up on these sessions, I learn something from you guys. You learn something. My language becomes tighter, right? All of that stuff. And it's like, imagine in 6 months' time what happens, right? It just gets finer and finer and finer, and we refine, we refine, we refine. So instead of working on 3 different things and trying to get fulfill our need for variety and adventure through doing different projects all over the show and exhausting our energy. Let's just focus on one, and then we'll get our variety by becoming more creative on refining what we already have to work with. Make sense? Yeah, cool. Now, I'm going to do that within one time frame. Why? Because there's one pilot. That's you, right? So we only have so much energy. There's one captain, one pilot. So if we can scale one thing that's focused and specific, and we can become really, really tight with our language, our messaging, our marketing, our sales game in this one area, woo, it's going to be, you will, right? You will scale that, right? Provided you stick to it and you commit to scaling that thing for 12 months. That's the fastest way to scale. So now I've just drawn up this little exercise for you to do as home play, but it's really just to refine down on what your message is, and that's looking at what your promise is. Now, in the last PowerPoint that I did for you, I broke down the promise of the SoulTrader implementation program. Okay, do you remember that? Yeah. It was the second slide, and I mentioned, so I'm just going to recap and go through it. But this is something that you can do, within your own business to really understand, okay, what are my promises going to be? What do I have to deliver? Okay, and then you can work it back from there. So if you remember, I mentioned that the aspiration of a soul trader, which is a business owner, a one-man band that's really passionate about what they wanted to do, and they're just sort of, needing to really start up and stay up. Their biggest reason for doing that is money, okay? So my avatar, their greatest aspiration is that they want wealth, okay? And what do they want? They want, and I trust you remember this. Wow, what is that? Yin and yang. It's a yin and yang sign. They want that inner fulfillment, okay? That's one of their wants. They want more time. And they want balance. Sure, that was the last one. Yeah. Balance, okay? So what I want you to do is, as your home play, you can go around and fill these out based on your list, okay? Based on your list of aspirations that they want. You can put the biggest one here, right? You make the call. Whatever their aspiration was in the future, where they're flying to and what's that aspiration, the biggest one, the one that's going to light them up the most, put it in the middle. And then the wants that they want, or the other aspirations, and maybe pick from some of their external or internal wants, choose them and put them around here. You make the call. They're your avatar. You've embodied them. You know them best. You've potentially already been in their shoes. What is it that they want? Okay. Now, when you build that picture out, when you get to the stage of having this, oh, what happened there? Undo that. When you get to the stage where you've got this picture, then have a think about, okay, what do they need, do you think? And this is where you've talked to them, you've been them, and you make a call based on your expertise. What are you going to deliver? What are you going to promise to do? And then you fill these out around the edges. Now, just to give you that context, I'll remind you that the first thing that we're doing here is connecting, right? Connecting with our who, and then connecting with our what, which is our message. Yeah. So that is one promise. So that's one promise I'm making to people in this program, is that by the time you go through, we're going to look at, who you serve and what you do, and for you to have enough information to go away and do that yourself. Right? The second one was content. Oh my. Content. how to build out effective content. Yeah. And essentially spending 2 weeks there, okay, it's probably going to be what you say and then building up the frameworks, okay, but there's a promise there. So there's 3 promises and then the final one is to convert. And this is how I came up with it. The thing that people want as my avatar is revenue. So it makes sense that they need to get good at selling, right? And converting those relationships into more long-lasting relationships. But for me, I think there's a few steps before that. So that's why I've reverse engineered it and I've gone, okay, well, before you can sell, you need to have their attention. And before you have their attention, you got to actually know who they are. Yeah. So it's been reverse engineered based on their top aspiration, but then working that backwards. What do they need before they can sell? They need to know how to get their attention. What do they need before that? They need to know who they are, because there's so many people out there. So that's what I encourage you to do, is to use the list that you've built and then work out what is your promise. Any questions about that? Cool. Nice. All right. Now, here's a goodie. Now, can I just mention to you that based on, I said, because this is the pilot, right, that we're building this rocket ship as we go. And there were a few things that you both said to me. And it was around, Steve was wondering, how do you have, with your workshops and stuff, what happens when you're not able to be in the room? Yeah, what happens then? And there was a few things that were mentioned that inspired me to share how you can scale, okay? Just like we're doing here, like what I'm doing, right? How you can take something that's potentially one-on-one or you need to be involved with, and how to scale that, all right? Because I think that's what I heard you guys ask for. So that's why I've come up with these processes and put them in place, put them inside the program, okay? Because if that's important to you and that's what I'm hearing, then that's what we're going to talk about, okay? So I mentioned that I've got a framework, but you guys fill it in. So what I want you to think about here is that here's your person at their destination, like where they're trying to get away from, okay? This is them there. That's where they're catching the plane from and they want to leave. Where is that? And based on your experience, what you can, there's 2 pages, so you can do this just to sort of gather your bearings about what you've been through and where you're at now, okay? And have a look at what was your process, like how did you end up where you are? And here's some questions to ask yourself. What process did you go through to change the problem for yourself? Or what process have you taken others through to change the problem that they were trying to solve? And what steps were needed to achieve solving the problem? And just work that back. There's 6 things here, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but there might not be that many. So let me, does this make sense that you want to reverse engineer what you've done to get to where you are? How did you go from sad to happy in your business? And work out the steps, okay? And then so you might have a mix of what you've done plus what you've done for clients. So when you've got, all your notes out here on this page, then you can put together a process of what you are going to do to get your people from A to B. All right. So just to give you some context around it. All right. So is it cool if I share the process with mine? So you got some context. Cool. So if we have a business owner that has decided, yes, I'm going to become a coach, consultant, a business owner of some sort, and they start out and they realize, oh, okay, I'm a little bit stuck, or I just need some gaps filled in, and they're just don't quite have all the information, the first thing that we're going to do is exactly what we've done, is to connect with who? That's the first thing I was going to teach, right? Because chances are the net is spread really wide and it's only the one-off sharks or blue whales that are coming in the net, hence why the revenue's looking how it's looking, and things are a little bit unpredictable, whereas we want to have our net tighter and have all the fishies swimming into it, okay, because our net is tight. And the second step I thought of was, now this was all based on what's going to make them happy, for dollars and sales, because that's one of the biggest problems that people have to solve. But I'm not starting there, okay? So worked it backwards. And it's essentially this model, but mapped out in actual steps, okay? So either way you want to do this, it's about getting the juices flowing around how you're going to help your people. So the next step was connecting with what you do, okay? The third one was doing content, and learning the psychology behind it. And then the fourth one was content, but actually learning the frameworks so that you can go out and execute. And then from there, once you've got people's attention, it was about learning who to be in sales, and then framework in sales. And for me, that looks like everything I've been through. And it's a mixture of different places where I've obtained the information. So it's like part of my journey, part of mentoring from various mentors. And I've put it together going, okay, if my people want money and know how to do sales, that looks like a good recipe for getting there. Okay, we've covered everything. And then on top of that, what you guys would have known, right? Hence why I put the inner work stuff in there, inner work bonus stuff, is because based on my experience, your inner world shapes your outer world. So that's gone into the mix because that's my experience and that's the recipe that I want to sort of help you guys cook up to be successful and get to where you need to go. Make sense? So those 2 pages are just about you hashing out, what have I been through? What have I taken people through? What are the steps? So like Steve, your workshops, you do a lot of workshops. So it's a one-day thing, right? But there's a process to that. Would I be correct? You would start with one thing, and before you can move on to the next, you'd have to finish that one thing. And then, yeah, exactly. So map out your process. Can that process be turned into a program over 7 weeks for business owners? Just saying, yeah? Get the juices flowing. Cool?
Yep, totally.
Awesome. So, and for for one-on-one work, okay, so Steve does workshops, a lot of workshops. Another person might do one-on-one coaching. What are the processes in the one-on-one coaching that can be mapped out like a process, and can that be automated and put into a program and taught to your avatar? Okay, so it's about getting those juices flowing. Now, any questions about that? Good? Sweet. Oh, hello. Seal, is that your son? He wants to come learn. Hello. Cutie. So this is a good segue into building your aircraft. Now, as a consultant, as a coach, as a business owner, these are the different streams you can end up in, okay? So one-on-one, right? You talk one-on-one, you work one-on-one. There are pros and cons for all of these, okay? And it's just about figuring out which one works for you, okay? So at the moment, you might start here, but you've got a plan to be down here. I'll just quickly give you the overview. One-on-one is like you work one-on-one with a client, yeah? Or you do a job one-on-one with somebody. You actually have to be there and you work one-on-one. One-to-many is like what Steve does, right? Turns up and it's one of him to the room, okay? The room of 20. So Steve might do a variation where he might work with the business owner one-on-one, but then then once the business owner's like had a few breakthroughs and wants him to come into the room with his staff, then it turns into one-to-many. But the common denominator is that Steve is in the room. Steve is doing the work. And if Steve is not in the room, then the work doesn't get done. So then we have the 1-to-0, okay, which is automation. Okay? So this is the one. Now, there's a natural progression, right? Chances are you've done a lot of one-on-one, done some one-to-many. And what I wanted to help you guys with in this pilot, because this is what I'm hearing, is the automation stuff. How to take something and go, da, 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 okay? And be in between these different, these different offerings, okay? So if we're here now, all good. But it's about, okay, that's why I said let's think sustainability. This is sustainable, all right? But as I said, everything has its ups and downs, because here there's not a lot of one-on-one, okay? And so here there's too much like in one-on-one, there's too much one-on-one, and there's not enough, like if you stop, it all stops, okay? No one gets coached because you're not there, right? So thinking long-term is about thinking about this step here as well. Cool? Awesome. All right. So what I want you to think about is where you are, which one of these do you want to play in the most? Okay. Which one of these are you comfortable doing in, and what are you open to, are you open to automating something that's scalable, that when you're not there, it can still generate revenue? If that's something that you guys are keen on, can you just unmute and talk to me a little bit about that? Because if so, that's where we'll focus, because you guys are you're in the pilot. Tell me what you want. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, one-to-many is where I'm currently sitting.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how I could automate my workshops. However, I could sell training to other coaches that they can utilize this style that I use. So that could be automation, or get them working with me as like a little company or something. But automation is definitely something that is one of my long-term goals, because it's sustainable. So like an online coaching program, a bit like TCI with its Moodle and everything. So they're in the room with me once every 6 months or something, then they just go and rock and roll and do their stuff online on their own. And if they need any assistance, they just hit me up for some laser coaching or something. So yeah, the idea of the automation is so that I'm not geographically tied.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, one-to-many is phenomenal. Like doing workshops and that, it really lights you up and that. But the thing is that you've got to be there, you've got to travel, you've got to get the workshop room, you've got to get all the resources and all of that. Yeah, so just having options is really what I see when I look at, having the it's 1-to-0, because it's like or 0-to-1. Shit, that's the other way around. Sorry. It's like you're not there, but you're doing the work with one person. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hear that. So that's something that you want to look into more. Cool. Seal?
Yeah, I'm one-on-one. I've done one workshop so far, but I like to work. I like to focus more on doing more one-to-many, and automate my process. My process seems a little bit complex at the moment. I've got it down to steps. It's just a bit. It's a lot involved at the same time. So, one-to-many would work a lot better because it's a lot for one-on-one. So if I can systemize and turn my one-on-one process into a program, that would help me focus more on one-to-many.
I can definitely, this can turn into showing you how to create an online program if that's what you need.
Yeah.
As I said, this is the pilot. It's about what you guys need. If it's about taking what you're teaching in one-on-one or one-to-many and turning it into a program, consider it done. Like this is what I'm doing here, right? How did I do that? If that's what you want to know, consider it done. We do it, right? Is that something you want to?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
wanting to do right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because look, to be honest, with one-on-one and one-to-many, the thing is that you have to be in the room. Like, you know, what happens if you need time off? Yeah, you have to be present. And so it's just about having that option of 0 to 1. And if you've got that option, then you know those times where you aren't available, or you know, you need to have some time out, right? Because the workload and stuff, then you know you've got that option to fall back on as well. So it's a part of your process. So we could definitely look at how to build an online program. And
Awesome.
as I said, I had a framework, and it can go either way depending on what you guys want. If it's how to automate and create an online program, then that is what we shall do. Now, so creating an online program, that's where I'll sort of, everything that I teach you from here on out will be with the intention and purpose of teaching you how to do that. Now, before we go any deeper, before we create any online program, this is what I want you to have a think about, because it really matters and it will help you set up your program, okay? Because not everyone's is going to be the same. This is where you set your mix, okay? This is your set, this is your show. People came to see you, how you want to write out, okay? And how one person does it does not mean that it's going to work for you, okay? And there's a reason for that. It's because we all have our preferences, we have our strengths. So what I'm going to do is take you through my examples and take you through how I've set my mix to give you an example, and you can go away and set yours. This is all about, what do I like doing? What don't I like doing? Yeah. Let's play to our strengths and put on our own mask first. So before we do design module 1 of our online program, we've got our intentions and what we like in mind. Okay. So if I look at, and this is going to help you understand the different scales. So this is a scale, right? And in the first one, if I look at my business, do I want to be the expert or do I want to be the host? Now, you guys would have seen my inside view interviews on Facebook, yeah, with the people, right? So that would be more of a host, okay? So where people have a show or a channel, think Oprah, right? Oprah is gangster, but Oprah has a lot of people on her show that are gangster, and she just talks to them, and she's the host, right? Whereas, Tony Robbins, he's the expert, yeah, and he doesn't really have people on his show or at his events. He does the talking, okay? So think about that. What do you want to be? So for me, I think I'm around here because there's a part of me that loves vibing with people. So yes, I want to be an expert, not to the point where it's all me. I want to have collaboration with others. Hence why, other coaches have everybody on mute and no one talks, right? They just want to be heard. For me, I think I do better. It is better for the greater good that you guys talk, because that's where my strength is having you guys collaborating. Now, the next one is, okay, so your niche. This is about niche, right? Is it specific or is it general? Now, you can have a general niche, right? Like how, you can have a general niche, but, your message wants to be tight. So like how we talked about, Cheryl, like you might help all professionals, but your message is really tight. Having both loose would be a generalist, where they just talk about anything and everything to everyone and every who, right? So for me, I'm very specific. I'm probably down here. Like I know exactly who I help. So you just want to find out where you want to be. Okay. So next one is, think about the price point, because that will determine then what you do, to what quality and how you do it and where you operate. So the price point for this program, because there is external implementation and inner world stuff in it, the price point is going to be a little bit higher. So my price point is probably around here, I'm going to say, right? So yeah, it's not like 24,000, like this is just a short-term course. So essentially the cost is going to be lower, but I don't even know what the next steps look like. But essentially that's the price bracket based on my avatar. So pick where you want to play, okay? And when that sort of comes back to what we looked at when we're looking at our who. Do you love them? Can you help them? Can they pay, right? Taking that into consideration. Next step is, do you want to be global or local, right? Do you just like want to serve your local, like become an expert, but in your town, or what? So for me, I already have clients in Australia, New Zealand, right? And that is set to, I want to expand that. So for me, I'm 100% up this end, okay, with a little bit of local, right, vibe still in there, but nomad, location independent, that's sort of my thing, right? And to just be able to go anywhere and everywhere with it. Do I prefer to be live, or do I want to pre-record everything? Okay, well, sort of what I'm doing here, it's live first and then it's pre-recorded, so there's a bit of a mix. So I'm about here. So there's part of me that wants to pre-record stuff because it is easier, but I need that collaboration to be able to be effective. So that's what I like. Do I want to operate online or offline? Majority of my work is online. I'm going to probably leave a little bit of leeway for workshops and stuff, but I reckon if I even could do workshops that were remote, yeah, via Zoom and breakout rooms, I would do that. I would find that way, right? As long as I'm connecting, doesn't matter to me. I like connecting. If it's online or offline, it's still the same. Over the phone, whatever. But so it's probably more online for me. Fixed or ongoing? This is about your offerings, okay? Are your offerings, are they fixed? So for example, this program is a 7-week program, 8-week program. Is that it, right? Is that it? And what next? So for me, my programs are ongoing, okay? Definitely. After this, there'll be something else. And after that, there'll be something else, but it's all being built, okay? But it's ongoing so that I can serve any type of client. So this, just to give you a heads up, like this is the SoulTrader, right? This is the SoulTrader case study implementation program. So if you're familiar with the, the government tiers, it's like the next step, you go to a company. The next step after that is you'll be creating a trust. And so I see my tiers going up that way with time. Okay, so definitely ongoing there. Do I want to work with one-on-one or group? At this stage, I'm going to say I'm fairly here, right? I want to have that balance. I've offered one-on-one in this program, and I work with one-on-one clients, obviously, but I'm really wanting to do a group thing. Yeah, so this program will probably have a fortnightly mentoring group attached to it. So that's what it will look like. So I'm going to say half. Commitment-wise, are the offerings that you have, is there a commitment for people to agree to, or is it just month to month? I'm probably over here for forecasting reasons. You want to have something where people commit, on a retainer or, something that you can forecast. The last thing you want to do is have a model where you don't know what's coming in the next month. So I think, how do you want to price your thing and offer your program or your offerings? For me personally, I would like to have a commitment. I would like to know and predict what's coming in. In terms of my program and my offerings, is it join anytime or is there a set intake? Some coaches have an online program and they'll launch it 4 times a year, and that's the only time you can get in, okay? And some other coaches, like the course implementation that I've been through with Taki Moore, it's join anytime and it's drip fed, okay? So for me personally, I like the idea of join anytime. okay? Because it's all automated, it's easy to do. And the last one there is all the presenting and the training and everything. Do I want it done for me, or do I want to do it myself? I am probably, with a little bit of exception for automation, people can automate stuff for me, and probably done by me. I actually enjoy doing the slides and the sheets, okay? I know colleagues of mine, other coaches, they get it automated, right? Because that's not one of their strengths, but me, I can plan out the whole module just by picking pictures, and I know what I'm going to say. I know I can build out the whole framework. So for me, that's my strength. I'm going to keep playing to that. Probably something I won't automate. So doing everything, that's me. So I want you to go through and set your mix, okay? Because everyone's different, and how you set your mix will give you a good idea on what your program's going to look like when it goes online, okay? So for example, if someone isn't like me and doesn't like the collaboration or gets, it's not their strong point, then maybe pre-recording it when you have time on the weekend and you go just follow the framework and just pre-record it on the laptop, maybe that's the better option, okay? So it's all up to preference. So go through, set your mix, see what that looks like, and in preparation for our next session where we're going to start building out the program, okay? Cool. Thoughts? Shares?
So, I love this. This is awesome. This is a really great way to be able to visualize where you currently sit, what your ambitions and desired outcomes are. And just like a graphic equalizer, you can flip it around and change things. And, you could push it to completely the opposite. If all of a sudden I said, take the local to global, for instance, if I suddenly turn around and went, I'm going to mix it up. Let's stick the line at local and see how that feels. I'll be going, that's fucking horrible. Because I don't want to be locally. I want to be able to coach from wherever I am in the world, traveling. So I know that would feel uncomfortable. So I would test that and know that it's not sitting right with me. So it helps you visualize and also play around. So, love it.
Beautiful. Nice shares. And it brings so much awareness when you can just put it out visually and have awareness of where you're at. Do this activity of where you want it. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Where you want it. So, sorry, I forgot to make that clear. Where you want to be, right? Not necessarily where you are. I know that, like for me, I'm happy doing one-on-one and group, like having a blend, because I actually like it. It lights me up. But like in 6 months' time, that thing might be closer to straight group mentoring. Okay, so it all just depends. But at the moment, I want that. Do this activity for where you want it, not necessarily where you're at right now, and then work towards it. Cool?
Yeah.
Nice.
This is a great way to be able to start to set those goals and those desired outcomes. Even if like when I talk to my clients and I say to them, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And most of them go, oh, no idea where I want to be. And I go, okay, well, tell me how you want to feel in 5 years' time. And that's what this is. It's that whole locking in some feelings.
Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, use this however you need. Get those juices flowing. However you get it done, get it done. Yeah, nice one, Steve.
Thanks.
See you.
Thanks, Steve, Jade. This is awesome. I haven't thought into this level of detail about where I want to be. I got a fair idea. So going into this, I can tick through it pretty quickly. But having this done will definitely make it a lot clearer for me, and definitely help me. I think that's part of the problem as well. As I'm trying to create my online program, I have my steps, and it seems a bit. It seems like there's a lot to it, whereas this will help to define the steps for me as well. So awesome. Nice.
Yeah. Beautiful. Good. And it allows us to lead with us. Yeah. How often do we, the first thing we're going to do, what do we want? Before we go and put all this madness of time, energy, and investment into building this up for everybody else, we're going to fill our cup first. We're going to put on our own mask first, right? Before we go out and, be a hero to others, because we need to sustain that. We need to be able to sustain what we're doing. Yeah, awesome.
Awesome.
Cheryl?
Yeah, I really, I mean, Steve took the words right out of my mouth. I like the visual, and for me, I would use it as where I am now, and also where I want to be, just to see where that gap is for me. I just like the visual, and I think nowadays you can get pulled in so many different areas, and this just helps define for me, okay, no, this is actually where I want to be, and not get sort of stray a little bit.
Yeah, let's not get pulled away with the current. I mean,
yeah,
time, energy, and resources that you have are precious, right? You're working very hard for them, and you know, you want to give yourself that shot. Do what's right for you. Okay, it's so easy to look around and see people doing really well, but you know, to be honest, everyone's different, so we've got to make sure we play a smarter game and do what was right for us. So guys, that's if you can go through and do your mix, have a look at your promise, see how you feel about the I think everyone's pretty much like, okay, yep, keen to check that part out, because I'm pretty sure we're all doing that and a bit of that. Okay, and so why not, let's look into, you know, this one here, because this is the one that's going to help us sustain at the end of the day. Go through and have a look at your process about how you're going to take them from A to B, right? So if in a coaching session or a coaching relationship, if you've got someone on retainer for 3 months, what do you do in that 3 months? Just map it out. And then can that be done in 8 weeks? Yeah. With a bit of group mentoring. Yeah. So it's about, how do we get rid of but how do we eventually phase out the one-on-one, the one-to-many if needed, okay, to have that option and start working on it now. And then we work hard once and then it's done, because all it is it's automated. It's done, right? So we work hard once, build that program, and then off you go. And then I've just added a few extra sheets in here if you wanted to go back over their frustrations. It's not mandatory. I just liked it. I like doing that for myself because I noticed that I would think of new things. But don't get distracted and write them out if you don't need to. It's just if you need them. But yeah, guys. So that's the end of module 2. We've gone 10 minutes over an hour and a half. I thought we'd be finished in an hour. But there was some good chat. There was some good interaction here. So, guys, just jump off mute and let me know what you're looking forward to next.